Mr. Queen is a South Korean television series based on the Chinese web series Go Princess Go. Please support me and subscribe, like, and click on the bell. At the start of the movie, we are introduced to a young man named Jang Bong-hwan. Bong is extremely talented at cooking and is the youngest chef in Blue House. That evening, Bong learns that the house is throwing a dinner party for a Chinese delegate. The delegate is extremely sensitive to fish bone, so Bong is instructed to prepare a delicious fish dish with no bones at all. At nightfall, the dinner is ready, but unfortunately, as soon as the delegate bites the dish, he takes out a fish bone after biting into their food cooked by Bong. This puts Bong in a serious dilemma as several guards search the mansion to find him. In the following scene, a pair of police officers investigating the incident arrives at Bong's apartment, and Bong finds out that he is in trouble, so he tries to escape through the balcony while the officers try their best to catch him. In the process, Bong unfortunately plunges into a swimming pool, smacking his head on the bottom of the pool. For some reason, he keeps falling as a woman swims towards him and plants a kiss on his lips. When Bong wakes up, he finds himself on a strange bed and an even stranger room. Bong feels that something is wrong and immediately rushes to a nearby mirror. His reflection surprises him as he discovers that he has become a woman. He contemplates for a second but finalizes that he must be dreaming due to the fall. Bong creeps out of the room to figure out what's going on, but finds dozens of women outside who bow and refer to him as Your Highness. Surprised by this, Bong runs outside the building but suddenly feels cold in his crotch. This is when Bong realizes that he has lost his banana. Bong is horrified by this and initially believes that he's been tracked into a sex change operation. The realization shocks him and he's eventually brought back to the palace. It turns out that he time traveled to the Joseon Dynasty in the year 1851. Moreover, he now lives inside the body of Kim So-young, a royal ward. To make matters worse, Bong discovers that Kim is scheduled to marry the king and become queen in a few days. Bong asks the maid to lead him to the lake as he plans to jump in and return to the present days. Sadly, his plan to jump takes an unexpected turn as he lands on muddy ground. It turns out that the Queen Mother ordered the palace servants to drain the lake overnight to prevent anyone from falling into the water again. Bong is disheartened by the news but still reckons that water is the only way to get out. So he desperately tries to submerge himself in any water source he can find. He even goes as far as inserting his head in a pail of water that is used to clean the floor. However, all his efforts prove wrong. The wedding day arrives a few days later. Bong is unaware of the dynasty's customs, but with the help of his handmaids, manages to complete the required wedding rites. That night, Bong, who is a queen now, was invited to the king's chambers to spend the night with him. Bong is horrified by the thought and offers the king some alcohol in hopes of him passing out. Fortunately, the king falls asleep. Queen with the soul of a man still likes women, so he wanted to approach beautiful girls. He even disguised himself as a man and went for a drink. And later that night, he unknowingly went to the men's rest room and reminisced his life. In the morning after drinking, he was hungry, but the food of those days was tasteless and he wanted to have some ramen. The chef is confused by his terms, but he tries to make the foreign meal based on Bong's instructions. The chef tries to make the dish multiple times, but Bong is dissatisfied with every attempt. First dish is too healthy, while the subsequent dishes are too bland and spicy. Eventually, the chef becomes upset and gives up, asking her to cook it herself. Bong, remembering his culinary techniques, decides to prepare the dish. He starts cutting the vegetables with great speed and precision. He cuts everything perfectly and at the right size, eventually making a perfect dish. Bong takes the ramen back to his chambers and enjoys the meal. He fought with the chef for the sake of the kitchen and won, and he could make his own food whenever he wanted. A few days later, the king organizes a huge feast and invites delegates from all over the country. Unfortunately, the cooks get sick and all the products have gone bad. Queen notices this and decides to help out. She discovers that the pantry is low on ingredients, as the groceries meant to be delivered that day couldn't make it. With limited resources, Bong has no choice but to get creative. The queen, with her handmaids, prepares a simple but unique dish of potatoes, making it crispy and crunchy. The guests are initially unhappy when they see the first dish, but then they try the unique meal, their eyes shine in approval as they marvel at its taste. It becomes harder to prepare the second dish, as there is no meat in the kitchen. The queen creatively uses beans to make a veggie burger with tomato relish on the side. Bong is pleased with his invention and names it McDonald, inspired by the modern McDonald itself. The dish, just like the potato serving, is a smash hit, and as the guests savor the mouth-watering cuisine. For the final meal, Bong creates a classic jelly dessert with a twist similar to the shape of ice cream. She writes special messages on the jelly sticks and calls them fortune jelly, as you get to read your fortune after you're done with the dessert. The guests enjoy the classic jelly and have fun reading their respective fortunes. The feast was successful with the help of the queen, and she, as there was nothing after work in the kitchen, went to the guests. Although when she was in the past, she invented new products that were in the future. She invented food delivery using a palanquin. In the days when she was a queen, she cooked for the queen mother and got approval to restore the river. Sadly, as it's in the 19th century, there are no advanced machines to aid this task. Hence, the servants can only transport water manually with wooden buckets. The process is unbelievably slow, as the servants make a long trip from the town's well to the lake. She saw that the process would take a long time, and she came up with a good idea to replenish the river. The people are pleased with the system as it makes the job easier and faster. They all continue the task and work on it patiently while Bong oversees the lengthy process. Several days pass, but the lake is yet to fill. Bong soon gets tired of waiting and becomes desperate. Luckily, a heavy downfall begins, which slowly but gradually waters the lake. And after that, it rained and accelerated the process. She was happy, even danced in the rain, and she wanted to leave sooner. Will she succeed? You can watch it yourself. Please support me and subscribe, like, and click on the bell. Thank you for your attention and have a nice day.